we should now have 4 layers. The background layer, or layer 0, and 3 selected layers that you've made from selections. They should look like this, something like this for your last one with the freehand lasso tool, like this with the elliptical selection tool, and like this with the rectangular selection tool. Now we're going to make another selection using the next selection tool, but we want to make sure once again that we have layer 0 activated. That's highlighted. So this layer, this whole line, this little box is highlighted, and that's how you know that this particular layer is active. It's also visible. The other layers I've turned the visibility off on, but it wouldn't really matter. If I turn it on, you're not going to tell because they are all layered exactly on top of each other. Once again, the layer number 1 is the one that's the closest to us. Layer 2 is right behind it, layer 3 right behind that, and layer 0 is all the way to the back. Alright, we're going to come up here, back up here to the lasso tools. We're going to simply click on it, and we're going to go down to the next one, the Polygonal Lasso tool. The Polygonal Lasso tool works very similarly to the freehand lasso tool, except it allows us to make straight line segments with each click of the mouse. Now, one thing I didn't say before, and what might have helped, and I'm sorry that I didn't, because it might have helped some of you, is if you zoom in. I'm going to hold the Alt key, scroll my mouse button, and I'm going to actually zoom in. And remember, if you hold the space bar down, you can pan around. So I'm going to get that butterfly kind of right in the middle. Now I've got it zoomed in pretty close. It'll make it a lot easier for me to make a more critical selection. The Polygonal Lasso tool works very well. This is actually one of the best, I think, one of the best selection tools in the group out of all the selection tools that we're going to talk about. Starting anywhere you want, you can just pick a spot to start. I'm going to click, and I'm going to click. When I say click, it's just pushing the mouse button down and letting go. Now you can see that I've got this straight line segment, and that straight line segment is going to go wherever I tell it to. I'm going to stretch it out here like this, and I'm going to simply click again. Now it's going to give me a new straight line segment from that point. So those are anchor points, and I'm going to simply go around my butterfly, and I'm going to click, 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 and the shorter the straight line segments you make, the more curvature you can have. Just like a circle. A circle is simply really a lot of straight line segments that are very, very small, and that's what makes up your circle. So we can go all the way around this butterfly, and you can do it as specifically, as critically as you want. And again, the more zoomed in you get, the closer you can get. I'm going to simply kind of go around here as quickly as I can and still do a pretty decent job. And I'm just simply clicking, and then once I click, I drag out that straight line segment to where I want to make my next anchor point, or I want to click the mouse again, and I'm clicking, 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 clicking. Okay. Now, if you click too fast, you might end up closing your loop, because if you double click, that's going to end your selection. So if you accidentally click too fast, you might end up with a goofy, like if I double clicked, it's going to end up with this goofy selection. Well, that's not really what you want. So you might have to hit the Control D button and start your selection over again. Okay? If I hit my Control Z, I'm going to simply continue my selection. One way to do it is if you happen to do this exact thing, if I hold the Shift key down, notice your cursor will change. It'll get a little plus mark next to it. What that says, it's going to add to my selection. So I'm going to simply start clicking again. Once I start clicking, I can let go of the Shift key, and I can continue my selection. I'm adding to the selection. So this part, the left side of this butterfly here, was not selected. So now I'm adding to the selection of the right side of the butterfly. So I'm simply going to continue what I was doing, and I'm not going to accidentally click too fast, which will end my selection, and I have to start over again with the Shift key and continue on, and it just makes it more complicated. So I'm simply going to go through the process. Now, as I said before, sometimes holding the space bar works for, holding the Alt key in this case will not work to zoom in. You can't hold the Alt key and zoom in and out because the Alt key is a different modifier key. So in this case, the Control plus is actually what I might want to do, because what I want to do is I want to get in close, because in this time I'm going to select the antenna simply because this tool actually works quite well for selected antenna because you can make these straight line segments and you can actually do a pretty decent job of selecting the antenna. Alright, so you don't have to, if you're freehanding in this, this would never work. So I'm going up to the top, just going to come down, and it doesn't have to be exact obviously. So I'm going to come down here like this, click, click, and I'm going to go around the top here, come down here. Now, in this case when I want to finish, if this were just the end, and I had gone all the way around and I didn't make my mistake, I would simply double click here and that would end it. But because I've made this goofy mistake, I need to, first of all, I'm going to do Control minus to zoom back out again because I need to see where I started. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I include that line, that selection line, so that when I go to finish, now I've selected my entire butterfly. Okay? Now there's one other thing I want to talk about real quickly, and that is if you look up at the top of your monitor, there is what's called Select and Mask. Select and Mask. If I click on that, and once my selection is made, this has to be done when the selection is made, be sure that you don't try to do it after you've cut and paste. After you copy and paste it, it's not going to work anymore. It has to be while your image is selected. I'm going to go up to Select and Mask. Now you see I've got my butterfly. It shows me my selection, and actually it looks pretty good. The only thing I really need to do in this case, I'm going to look at these sliders right here. There are these three sliders. They're smooth, feather, actually four, and shift edge. Shift edge allows you to, let's say you wanted to move your whole selection in just a little bit. You can shift the edge in just a little bit. Now does it actually show up there? It doesn't look like it. Oh yeah. So you can see my edge is just, if I slide back and forth, you can see my edge going out a little bit or shifting in just a bit. So if you think you've gone just a little bit to the outside, you can just shift your edge in just a little bit. The other two you're going to be concerned about, the smooth. If I slide the smooth, now you got to be careful. If you watch your antennas, they will start to disappear with this smooth. You want to just really, these are just minor adjustments. Okay, smooth and feather. You can feather your edge just a little bit. That'll just soften the edge. And again, very minor. I've got 0.2 pixels, very small. Smooth, just 1. And I've got a minus 19% for my shift edge. Now I can go to maybe minus 15, just a little bit. Again, minor changes. You don't want to do drastic changes. Once I'm happy with my selection, I simply click OK. And then now I'm on, as long as I'm on my background layer, I'm going to do Control C, Control V, and I've created a new layer. Now let's look at that one, and that is actually a very nice selection of that butterfly. So now I'm going to turn you loose. I want you to go and grab the Polygonal Lasso tool and make short straight line segments and select this butterfly as accurately as you can. But then I also want you to go up to the Select and Mask, and I want you to click on it, and I want you to just smooth your edges, feather just a little bit, again minor things, and then I want you to copy and paste it so that when you're done, you should have a background layer, and then you should have 4 additional layers above it. Okay, so